Hey guys, and welcome back to Age of Strife. So, you take off, headed east, around Thornwatch Keep, around River Grove, and south towards Nixon. Let's get some traveling background sounds, and let's see what sort of dangers befall you, or not.
Yeah. Luther is on the lookout for poisons. Probably won't find any, but it sure would be nice.
Okay. Unfortunately for the party, the first 2 days are entirely peaceful with nothing dangerous lurking anywhere ever. The River Grove seems totally fine. You don't see any monsters in the stinking marsh. There's no zombies. There's no goblins. You pass through the corner of Hagthor's Claim. You don't see any giants out there. And soon enough, you're at Nixon 2 days later in the evening. You see the town on the horizon. You can see the spires from a couple of the temples. You can see the keep. You can see the town walls. How close would you like to get before you make camp?
I guess if we can see it at this distance, it seems like that's the distance we want to be at.
Yeah, there's no reason to get too close, really.
No. What time do we get there?
Evening.
Evening.
Okay. Yep. All right. Yeah, I'd say sight would be fine.
Okay. You guys make camp and bed down for the night, which is also wildly uneventful and boring.
Luther brought, this is just kind of off topic, but he brought the journals that he got from the lighthouse and the witch. And he's going to try to read languages on them in the night.
Oh, have you increased your read languages chance?
It's at 15%.
Ooh. They're entirely undecipherable to you.
Okay. Well, I guess I don't know how read languages goes up. I guess I study books in weird languages that are available.
Yeah, or you're just practicing cryptography in your mind and looking at weird signs and trying to puzzle them together and kind of constantly practicing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you have a book there. You have a book there to practice on, so that makes sense.
So I guess I just keep trying. Doesn't go too well, but
Okay. So the next day, it's a bright, sunny day. You're just outside of Nixon, the once beautiful, thriving town along the river, now completely overrun by misshapen, monstrous creatures. How would you like to do this?
Well, I guess I'll talk to Arthur in the morning right before we head out and say I'll just carry my shield for now. So
all right, makes sense.
I guess Luther.
We have 2 donkeys on us, yeah? They can carry shields.
I'll hold mine though, just in case.
Okay. I guess I brought both my shields with me. Still offering one to Arthur if he wants to have the protection option, unless he wants to keep his bow out.
You could dual wield shields though. That'd be so good.
Don't recommend it.
Hey, one of them has a spike on it. Think about it.
They're unwieldy and huge. You can't do much with that sort of weight on your arms.
On top of the other and have a fake tower shield. Well, I guess better head out.
Can we see the spire?
You
From
can,
the church?
but it's on the south side of town, so it's pretty far from you. You could walk around the town today. It'd be just a couple hours to do so.
Yeah, I think
Okay,
we
yeah.
intended to enter from the south, so that's...
All right. Sure, you cruise around the outside of town. No problem. A few hours later, you're on the south side. You can see the front gate, or the the gate on the south side of town is open, or maybe not quite open. Maybe the gate is broken. The wall is mostly intact along the south side of town, but there are some areas where it's crumbling and in bad shape. You would still need to climb up it and then lower a rope for other people, but it's definitely passable. a little bit of effort. It's not just like, it's not like Wadsworth where there's sections of the wall that are missing, but
Yeah.
it's reasonable. The other option would be going along the bank of the river and trying to get in that way, maybe.
Is the plan? Are we going to the crypts first? I'm not really sure about that. There are the monsters in Erickson. Those are one thing, and then I think we've experienced that crypts aren't always the safest places.
At the moment, we have no gold, so the
Wouldn't the
church
best
is
plan-
close to the estate.
We could look for the estate Father talked about. If we skirt the riverbank where he said there aren't many monsters, maybe we could get fairly close.
I
Yeah.
believe it's further into the city, deeper into the city than even the
Let's-
church.
Yes, but if we skirt the riverbank towards the center of the city, perhaps we could get deep into it without encountering much.
Potentially, I think we should still aim for the church, whether or not we go into the crypts themselves. But I think the deeper into the city we go, the less chance we have of surviving. So
If
therefore,
I think we need to try to get in quick and get out rather than dally around in the church. The
Exactly
longer
that.
they have to know that we're there, the more that are going to show up.
the deeper we go, the more chance of that. That's up to you.
I don't know. I think the church is more of a gamble than. Well, it's not more of a gamble with our lives, but if we go into the church and don't find anything, or we go into the crypts and find terrible ghosts as usual.
Don't we need to get a lay of the land? We need to see where this estate your father was talking about is in the first place.
Yes,
Oh,
I agree.
we've circled the city. What else? What else is there to do?
I propose we head in towards the church and maybe try to locate the area that Father spoke about. But I will provide protection in case monsters arrive. Arthur, you've got good senses. Keep working eye out and try to figure out the area. And I guess Luther, you make the most of finding the money. Stefan, you could just look pretty or something.
Of course, sister. Thank you for the compliment.
He said it was. If it's an estate, it's a fairly big building with marbled columns. That should be fairly obvious. I guess we head in towards the church and just see what we see.
So you're going to go in through the gates on the south side of town?
No, I think the banks was Luther's plan, and then head up to the river until we get even with the church, and then cut into the sea directly.
Great.
Yeah.
So you head to the riverbank. Are you taking... Is it Doris with you?
We've got Spike and
Spike.
Doris.
Okay, Spike and Doris. So you take Spike and Doris. You head to the banks. The wall of Nixon comes out all the way flush with the river embankment. But you can see that the wall here has slightly corroded as the riverbank crumbled or eroded underneath the wall, and now the wall has slightly collapsed. It's a little bit tricky to get around. You're going to have to hug the wall and walk on some fallen, broken stones. But you can do it. It's just going to be slow going to get around the corner of the wall. The donkeys have pretty good footing. They're donkeys after all, so they should be able to get across no problem. But it's going to take maybe a minute for each person to get around the wall.
Okay. Upon noticing this, I turn to Luther and say, on our way out, take the quickest way out if the gate looks open.
We can always do that. And
Or by the bridge.
if need be, I can scale the wall. I think we should be okay. Let's just make sure that there's nothing in the area before we start climbing around this. So, is there a place on the wall where it's fairly solid and stable?
To skirt around the edge?
I think
What do you mean?
I'm thinking a little more to the inside,
Like you want to
If
climb the
there's, like-
wall?
Yeah, so I can stand on the top and see what's on the other side.
Sure. What is your climb walls check?
It is 70%, and I have a grappling hook.
Ooh. So with your grappling hook, you can probably scale the wall. Just don't roll a. No, you can just do it. That's fine. You're a rogue. So it takes you a few minutes to get the grappling hook secured up there. A little bit of banging around of metal on stone, and eventually you get it in a nice solid spot and climb your way up.
Okay.
And you find yourself on top of the wall, looking down onto the other side and across to the town.
Okay, so I just look mostly down to the area where everybody be going around and just kind of survey it, make sure there's nothing.
There are no sectoids ready to ambush you.
Perfect. Okay, I kind of wave down to them and say it's okay.
Right.
And I guess as they're going across, I'll scale down to the other side and make sure to keep my grappling hook with me.
Okay. You guys scale down the wall, or you come down the wall. They go around the side. It takes 3, 4, 5 minutes for everyone, including the donkeys, to get across. And you guys are now on the southeastern corner of the main part of Nixon. Looking across the town, it looks, well, very much like an abandoned town. The grass and brush and plants are overgrown all over the place. Small little, what once were small little plots of land outside of a house are now just totally overgrown with weeds and crap. Some buildings are damaged. It looks like fire has ripped through a section of this town, and many buildings are crumbled and destroyed. The stone ones are in better shape. A lot of the wooden ones are gone. And the streets are empty. It's like a ghost town.
I guess what we're gonna do is we're gonna keep skirting along the river until we get fairly deep in, even with the church at least. So,
Okay. Walk along the riverbank.
Neal, I'm going to be looking for defensible buildings, like buildings which would offer defenses if we are attacked.
Sure.
Just as we go.
like
Sure.
ones that tentacle monsters can appear in.
You come along the riverbank for a little ways until you see the spire of the church more or less lines up with you.
Okay, and we don't see. Do we see any big buildings that might be estates, like our father was talking about?
Mm-mm. Nope.
Well, haven't seen the estate yet, so I guess we can check the church.
Okay. So you start heading in. The roads are not straight. There's no like road that just heads straight into town. There's one that comes in a little bit and then it meets another road, and you have to kind of wander your way through the town trying to find the appropriate and fastest path towards the church. Maybe 15 minutes later, you guys are carefully picking your way through the town when you do indeed come across a road that comes down parallel to the river and runs right across the front of the church. You can see the front of the church is blackened. Some sort of fire must have been here a good while ago, because the upper parts of it are grayed out as if it's been washed away by rain. The doors to the church are gone. Doors to a lot of the buildings in this town are gone.
Well, I suppose. Is there like a graveyard behind the church where we think we'd get into the crypts, or do we think it's like a basement? In the
It's
church?
probably a basement,
Okay.
but there is a graveyard behind the church.
Well, I suppose let's get inside. If we find the way down to the crypt, I think someone should be watching the entrance while the rest of us
Plus, before heading down, does anyone want to head up for that quick search of the city from the higher ground?
We want to clear this building out anyway if we're going to be in here, so yes.
go. Fair enough.
Alright, we're going to look for the way up.
Yeah.
All right. Stepping in, you see directly to your right is a staircase that goes up in the corner and probably leads to the minaret.
Is there anything else? Is the I'm guessing the room is bare then?
No, there are still pews that seem in surprisingly good condition, considering the front of the church is all blackened.
Are the pews made of wood?
They are made of wood.
Ah, wonder why they're not burnt.
The inside looks like it's in good shape. The tapestries and drapings that used to be here are tattered. There are long bolts of red cloth that are hanging from the walls, but they've been kind of slashed away in some areas and eaten away by mold and weather. At the back is a large copper altar, and behind that is an organ, like the musical instrument organ.
That's worth something, isn't it? I pointed out.
Sure, but can't very well strap an organ to the back of a donkey and
Take it apart? How quickly could one of you do that?
A couple of days.
yeah. Do we think like any of the pieces might be valuable? Like, I'm not sure how. Are there keys on an organ? Like, would they be like a piano's keys, like maybe ivory or something?
So you approach the organ to take a better look at it. The keys seem to be made out of wood, and there's nothing really valuable lying around here.
Okay.
Whatever valuables were once in this area have been picked away either by people like your father or by the denizens of Nixon themselves.
Yeah. Well, I don't think there's much valuable here. Let's just get up the stairs.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm going to point to the door that we came through and say, should we block that off with some of the pews or leave it open so that we can escape quicker?
Blocking it might be a good idea, actually. It would be blocking an escape road if we find anything in here.
It may draw attention to anything walking by that hasn't spotted us already, though.
Yeah, let's just be quick. Let's just get up there. Get
All right.
down.
All right, who's going first up the staircase?
That's a good question.
I'll go.
Yeah, I think Luther might tell Arthur to do it anyway. So.
Brave Arthur heads up the staircase first.
Brave level 1 Arthur.
While Arthur goes up, I'd like to see if there's a back door to this building.
Okay, you do indeed find a back door. It's right adjacent to the staircase that heads down into the crypt.
All right. I will keep my eye on both entrances to this building.
All right, so you're downstairs, keeping an eye on these two things. Arthur's heading up the stairs. What about Luther and Stefan? Where are you guys?
Like I say, Ginger, there's no point in you being down here. We better off if we're all together at this point.
Okay.
So everyone goes up the staircase together. The staircase up to the minaret is a spiral staircase made out of metal. One of those, it's a single thing that's there, so it's a little bit shaky when you walk across it. It's clearly coming out of its foundation a little bit, but it will hold all of your weight, it seems. This comes up to a level maybe 15 feet above the ground, and a doorway, the door is missing again, that leads into some sort of room at the, I guess it's the back of the church, near the entrance of the church, but above it.
How high up does this go?
This staircase goes about 15 feet until you get to this room that's perched above the doorway. It looks like it runs the length of the front wall of the church. Maybe 5 feet wide.
We don't see any of these doors laying in the rooms or anything like
No.
that. They're just gone.
They're just gone.
They seem to have something against doors.
Yeah, I don't understand that. But
Maybe they believe in equal opportunity for those that don't have arms.
well, I suppose it doesn't matter now. I just keep going.
I tell you what, this staircase, if we could move this thing, that'd be worth a pretty penny. This much metal.
Maybe.
All right. Arthur, you get to the top of the staircase, walk in through the doorway into this weird room. It's the long-wise, it's the width of the church, right? So it runs kind of almost all the way across the front. It's only maybe 5 or 6 feet deep, so extending into it. and it's a normal heighted building roof. There's also another spiral staircase kind of in the middle of it that runs up to the minaret in the middle. But as you walk into this room, you see crouched in the corner to your side is this. Well, you're not sure how tall it is because it's crouched all the way down on its haunches. It looks to be a humanoid, but instead of having a normal face, it's got like a long elephant-like trunk coming off of it. And you can see its large bear-like claws are covering its face as it crouches in the corner.
Yeah. Yeah, as soon as I see that, I like whisper loudly, "Oh shit," and pull an arrow out of my quiver.
This thing's going to be, like, it's just right to your right. You know, you could reach out and touch it almost.
Okay, how close are the people behind me on the stairwell?
A couple of steps behind you.
Okay, as soon as I draw the arrow out, I'll try to rush into the room past it.
Okay. It sees your aggressive action and gets to its feet. When it stands up, the creature is a little bit shorter than you. It's like 5'5", maybe. And can I get initiative?
Mm-hmm.
Is it in a corner?
It was in a corner, crouched down, sitting on its butt and feet, with its arms wrapped around its knees and kind of in front of its long trunk-like face.
Okay, I'm gonna start shouting out commands to, like, get a shield wall up in front of it and trap it in the corner.
Okay. 10.
Have we got enough space in this to do that?
Well,
You'd
if it's
only
in a
take
corner,
2
I
people
think
to do it.
2 people
Okay.
to trap it in the corner, yeah.
10,
moves.
11.
Yeah, this thing would have been friendly.
I think I'm actually just moving out of the way. So there we go.
10, 11, 12, 7. 7 goes first.
Yep.
So
I run across the room.
you run across the room. Okay. Next up is Stefan, but what was the marching order behind Arthur?
I'm third, so I'll have to wait for them to move up.
Okay, so it went Arthur, Luther, Stefan, Ginger?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would have been third or fourth because I stayed back to talk with Ginger. So,
Right.
Ginger,
Okay.
would you have gone in front of me or behind me?
I would go in front in this situation because you don't carry a shield.
Okay,
This is
so
true.
Arthur,
I'm at the
Luther,
back.
Ginger, Stefan. So Luther, you go at the same time as the creature, like gets up, lets out a from its trunk.
Okay. I rush forward with my shield up, and I'm like gesturing with my sword for Ginger to come up behind me and trap it in the corner. So
Do you make an attack against it, or are you just like holding your shield against it?
I get up there and crouch down in front of it and go for a stab.
Okay. That's
16.
a hit.
8 damage. Whew.
Ooh.
Take that.
You skewer the creature in its side. A large pool of red blood starts to flow out of it, or a large stream of red blood starts to flow out of it as it gives it an agonizing groan. Its trunk lashes out to grab onto your shield. And give me an opposed strength check as its trunk kind of wraps itself around the front and corner of your shield.
Oh dear.
Oh shit. Natural 20 on its strength check.
Oh, 30.
Oh shit. What is its strength? Its strength is 11, so it gets a 31.
Oh.
Alright, so it grabs your shield with its trunk and rips it out of your hand as it makes claw attacks at you. What's that? That's a 5 and a 17.
17 hits.
Okay. One of the claws slashes you for 1 point of damage.
Okay.
Ginger, you're next up.
Okay, so I've left my spiked shield downstairs because it's bigger and heavier. On Donkey, I'm carrying my normal shield and my steel spear. I'm going to move in, and I guess I'm pushing my shield up into it. There's an action for that to like.
Oh, you want to like
Corner.
shield bash it?
corner it with the shield. I think that's what Luther's asked us to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. It's already in the corner, so between you and Luther, you've got it tightly pinned in this little section.
Yeah, I guess my action is just then to bash it.
Okay. Looking for my book on shield bashing. Elephant men. A specific rule for that.
Harmless elephant man.
All he wanted was to be left alone.
Yeah, that's. I
It
guess
seems like a lot of these things that we're fighting just wanted to be left alone.
I'm going to declare this as the only action, so I'm not dual wielding. So it'll be at just a +2.
All right, so this is a shield punch. 11 is a hit against it. Treated as a normal secondary weapon attack.
With a spike, though.
No,
No,
the
she left
spike
the
shield is downstairs. I'm not carrying this one because it's well, the spike shield's just a little bigger and unwieldy in some places. Figured out. So yeah, tap it in the nose.
Okay. What's the damage on your shield for a shield punch?
It's just 1 today, 1d4.
Oh, beautiful. All right. The creature groans as you smash it in its wounded side. And Stefan, you're up next, but your siblings have this thing cornered. Shields in front. Although I guess Luther's crouching.
Also,
Yeah, I wanted
in
to
my turn, I'm gonna shout quickly. Obviously, making an indication of that it's already let out a loud sound.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't have my shield anymore, so I don't know how the shield wall's going. But
It's kind of broken.
yeah.
Yeah.
Is the shield like gone from?
No, it's just like tossed to the side.
Okay, so it got it off my arm somehow.
Yeah. I'm not sure how it ripped it off your arm. I guess it's kind of wrapped to your arm, so maybe one of the straps on the inside snapped off, and it'll need a little repairing.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. What were you gonna say, Stefan? It's your turn.
So I'm guessing I can't really do a great deal. Then I'll just come up the stairs and ready myself for an opportunity.
Yeah, you don't have any weapons that can reach over Luther.
No.
It's short swords, all right. Arthur, you've got an arrow drawn, but the backs of your betters are to you. You're got a likely chance to hit them instead of the elephant man if you make a shot with your bow.
Yeah, I pretty much just sit there with an arrow knocked, but I don't draw it and just wait to see what happens.
You sure you don't want to take the chance and shoot at the elephant man?
I don't know, is Stefan in the way?
Yeah, Stefan's in the way.
I think there's a cold shot to avoid.
Yeah, you could do a cold shot. It'd be -4 to hit, and then you wouldn't risk hitting anyone else unless you rolled a natural 1.
Ooh, I might actually do that.
If you did roll a 1, I would be the natural target for you.
Okay, yeah, I'll go ahead to do cold shot on the elephant man.
Okay.
T20. I'm at -2, all things considered. Arrow. Boop. There he is.
That's a hit. Roll me some damage. Is this a broadhead?
Yes.
Okay.
This one. There we go. Oh man.
Oh my god. You
Poor
skewer it
elephant.
right in the trunk, and it thuds against the wall and slides down without a movement or a noise.
Oh, nice shot. Thought you were aiming at me there for a second.
I'm gonna lower my shield, look straight at Luther and say, I'm going downstairs, there's too much sound. There are donkeys down there, we can't have them at risk. I'm gonna push past Stefan and head down.
Neal, I screwed up. I rolled a d8 instead of a d6.
Oh no, roll me a d6 +1.
Ooh.
You only had 3 HP left, so there you go.
Okay, there you go.
Same effect.
Well, I guess I go pick up my broken shield. So I just can't use it at all now. It's one of the straps. I
think you should still be able to use it, but one of the straps holding it to you is deattached, right? There's like two
Yeah.
straps in there.
Yeah.
So let's say any round in which someone hits your armor class instead of dealing damage to you, you've got to make a dex check to hold on to it.
Okay. As Ginger's going downstairs, I'll say, you have another shield, right?
2 shields, yeah.
Can I use one? My shield, it broke it somehow.
Yeah, of course. I'm gonna make my way down the stairs as quick as I can. And does anyone else hear that music? I shout back up.
That is not supposed to have music in it. I got the wrong soundtrack. Good catch, though.
Nope. You must be imagining it.
Well, with Ginger running downstairs, shall we stick with her or?
Well,
That's come in. She's...
so are there more stairs in the room that go further up?
There's another staircase that goes straight up. This room has a what do you call it? A green and red carpet across the floor, and it has some areas that would look like they used to store things. Maybe this was some sort of supply room, but it's got this elevated position, and the carpet's kind of nice. So maybe this used to be where they would hold like important ceremonial things. Whatever it is, the objects that would be held in here are gone.
And does the carpet seem valuable at all?
No, it's also pretty dirty
Okay.
and thrashed.
Are there windows?
There are windows that look out over the inside of the church, and there is one big stained glass window that would look out over the front and down, but stained glass makes it a little bit hard to see through. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was the elephant guy holding anything or wearing anything?
He was wearing clothing, tattered remains of clothing,
Okay.
like a toga or something. And then there's this metal spiral staircase that heads up to the minaret.
Well, I need to get a shield from Ginger, but I think we should keep going up if that's what we're trying to do. We need to see if we can find the estate in the city from here.
I agree. Quite frankly, if anything heard us and is coming for us, then the donkeys are dead. We'd be better off up here where they can't get to us easily.
We could break out this window and see if we can see it from here. Do we know how high up we are? Like, do we think we could see over the other buildings?
This section of the church is facing the river, so it's not looking back towards the inside of town.
Well, I head down the stairs after Ginger then, and
all you would do is draw more attention to us if you broke the window. Is there any chance that there'd be any nooks or crannies where things may have been hidden?
Sure. Why don't you give me a perception check to search the nooks and crannies, Stefan?
I was asking for Luther to do it since he's the one with light fingers. Hang on, that won't work. Alright. Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
So you find a section of the carpet that's a little bit loose, and pull it up, but there's nothing under there. All the other crannies and nooks are empty too.
What you're telling me is I just wasted the 20.
Yeah.
As I get down to where the donkeys are, I pick up the other shield. I guess hold it in my arm and have 2 shields, and then I guess try to calm the donkeys, who are probably already calm, and then just try listening for any other noise than the sound I can hear above from footsteps.
And I guess Luther's coming down, so if you stop and listen, he'll try to help too and detect noise.
Okay. Should I roll a perception as?
Yeah. Why don't you roll me a perception check? All right.
20 and 1.
I am stressed.
You do hear music, actually. All right, Arthur. You are the only one heading up to the minaret, I think.
Okay.
Right.
I'll hand over the regular shield to Luther, and then strap on my new shield with the spike to my left side.
Yeah,
So-
and I guess I'll put my old broken shield on the donkey.
You climb the spiral staircase, get up to this little lookout section, there is a single bell above you. There's a rope there's a section where the rope would be attached to the bell, but the rope is gone as well. No sign of it remains. But you do have a great view of the rest of the town from here. You can walk all the way around this little, maybe 8x8 tower, and not even 8x8, like 4x4 tower, and take a look over the town.
Okay. Yeah, I do that. I try to look over the town, specifically looking for like big estates.
Give
that might be
me
nearby.
a perception check.
All right. There you go.
Okay. So you spot the keep really easily. It's in the center of town. It's on a slightly raised hill. It's got a fortified wall around it. And you see kind of adjacent to the keep are these larger manors. They have some of them have hedgerows that go around the outside, but these hedgerows are well overgrown, and now they're just kind of like wild, brambly bushes. You can't make out any buildings with marbled columns, but it could be that the building faces a different direction, and its front porch isn't looking the direction of the church. Or maybe it's hidden behind the thing, but there's definitely no marbled columns facing you.
Okay. Can I see the roads I would need to take to get to those manors?
Yeah. So all the manors are kind of on one big square road that goes all the way around the center of town. And so in the center you've got the keep, and then you've got these like big manor houses around it, except in the very front of the keep, and there's a square road that goes around the center of town. From your vantage point, you can indeed see the side streets and different ways that you would have to take to get to this main center square road. But it looks like a long way. Looks like it would probably take you 20 or 30 minutes to get there.
Okay. Yeah, I'll spend a little bit of time trying to memorize that route, and then look for the nearest, I guess, exit from the city, and try to map out that route too.
The nearest exit would be the southern exit. From where you are now, it's probably fastest if you go back to the river and go along the edge, actually. Although to get to the wall, the southern gate, would probably only be another 5 or 10 minutes. But you would have to go through kind of the heavily housed section of town.
Okay. Does it look like there are any sort of marketplaces or something a little deeper into the city?
Yeah. You can see a couple of open squares that used to be marketplaces.
Okay, I'll take note of them as well.
Okay.
After that, I'll head back downstairs.
Sure. The party reconvenes in the main hall of the temple.
Okay, do we see a staircase going down?
Yes.
Okay, I guess Luther's kind of moving towards that a little bit and making sure his shield's strapped on properly. And well, Arthur, did you see anything? See the estate?
Well, I found the keep and where all the noble, well, I assume they were noble houses are. I didn't see any marble columns specifically, but they might have been facing a different direction or something. I also saw a couple of marketplaces, I think, that were a little further in if we wanted to try to stop there.
How did you see any threats along the way? How long do you think it would take to get there?
Yeah, maybe 10 minutes or so.
Okay.
At least to the marketplaces. I think the keep was more like half an hour, maybe.
Quite the long way. Well, I suppose the crypts are what we should deal with first, and then once we find what we find down there, we can make a decision after that.
I agree. Arthur, do you have one of these horns?
No.
Get yourself one. Not today. Obviously, we'll blow them, signal trouble. Should we say if we get separated by the horns and retreat, which direction out of Nixon?
The south was the closest exit I could see.
Probably go back to the river. We know that's clear.
Okay.
I wouldn't blow the horns unless there's something threatening you, though.
Yeah.
And even then, I probably wouldn't do it because then you're going to have more things coming. I don't think the horn is a good idea in this situation.
Yeah,
The other thing
If
is,
we are
really don't
separated, of course.
Arthur, did you? Are you sure you said that the estates were right next to the keep?
Yeah, pretty close to it.
You know, I'm not too sure our father wants us to live. His description was it's over the bridge and down a few blocks. And he made it clear that it was separate from the keep because he said that the keep was infested and not to go there. But if the estates are bordering the keep, then it seems. Was there any other larger buildings away from the keep, Arthur?
Do I remember that, Neal?
There were other buildings around town. Those were the nice estates that you saw, but that doesn't mean that maybe there were some other ones scattered about that you didn't quite recognize as estates.
Luther starts going up the stairs to look for himself.
Yeah, I think, yeah, same.
All right, so the party climbs back up. You can fit maybe 2 people up in this minaret at a time. So you look out over the city. Give me a perception check.
Guess I'll have a look.
Wow.
Okay.
So perceptive today.
So you
Our
do
eyes are all in working
No
condition.
fails.
You do indeed see the keep and the really nice buildings around it. But then looking out a little bit closer to the river, you do see there are a few other large estates. They're not nearly as big as the ones next to the keep, but there are a couple of other ones in a small cluster to the side.
Can we see if they have columns?
Autumn, you can pinpoint one that has a bunch of columns in front of it. You can't tell from this distance if they're marbled or not, but you definitely see one with stone columns holding up the second story over the porch.
Yep, I'll point it out to the party saying that one's definitely got columns. Maybe some rich people live there would go grab their stuff.
Perfect. How close is it to the river? Do you think if we followed the river, we'd get to it fairly easily from there?
If you follow the river, you would still have to go in quite a ways, a few thousand feet.
Okay.
But from where we are now, traveling to it, how far away are we?
You're still a few thousand feet from it, I guess. You're a little bit closer to it inwards, but you're further south. And if you're looking at the roads that you'd have to take, which is kind of hard to see from this angle, because some of the buildings are 2 or 3 stories. It would be, to take this road and wrap around here, then cut over to this, and then come up here, and then cut back, and then down the road, and you're there.
Okay.
So it's a bit of a maze. Hopefully, it shouldn't be too hard.
Does it look like we'd be able to see it from the river if we went up further?
Probably not. There's some other large-ish
Is there,
buildings and overgrown trees and bushes that would be blocking your line of sight to the building.
Can Luther
Should we-
pick out a landmark by the river where it's fairly even with the house? Like a tree or something?
Yes, there is a house with a blue roof that's more or less in line with this estate that's near the river.
Okay. Okay, so I'll point out the house with the blue roof and say, once we get out of here, we can go straight down the river, get to that house, and then cut in from there. And we should be able to get there fairly easily.
All right.
Yes, but I guess we're going to memorize the route and what's around as much as we can, given the difficulty of the angle.
Yeah, I guess another thing to look for is what's the closest exit to that house from town?
Probably north to the bridge.
Okay. Does it look like a fairly simple route from that house to the bridge? Can we see that far?
I guess Ginger did roll a 32. Ginger can make out a route from the house to the bridge. But by now, you guys have spent a few, like maybe 5 or 6 minutes up here looking and talking and pointing out roads and trying to memorize routes.
Yeah.
I don't know how long
I'm
you want to
happy-
spend out here doing that.
I mean, I'm picturing like 10, 20 minutes would be reasonable.
Yeah. Just until we get a good idea, make sure we know where we're going when we
Sure.
leave.
So I guess all four of you have squeezed up here, so you're like, tucked adjacent to each other.
Super uncomfortable with all our
yeah.
shields.
It's like a 4x4 area, and you're all squeezed in.
Oh, we're going up and down, so pointing at things out and then having to point it out to the next person, etc.
Right. It's a mess. But you guys, 15 minutes after you've been up here, you see some figures moving down the street in a 2x4 column in the direction of the temple that you're in.
Uh-oh. Let's get the donkeys, go down to the crypt.
What is... Hold on, though. Why are they moving in a column? Monsters wouldn't move in a column.
Exactly the point. That's a military.
What are
So-
they Who are they? What are they doing here?
Well,
We don't have time for debate right now.
If they're military, they shouldn't harm us, would they?
I'm already heading down.
Yeah, same here. I'm not listening to Luther at the moment. How far away are they, Neal?
2 minutes at the rate that they're going.
All right, let's get down quick. I'll get the Luther, get the crypt door open.
On the way down, I'm going to take another look at the elephant guy's body. Anything look out of place since the last time I looked at it?
No. It
Okay,
seems to be
good.
in the exact same spot.
Okay. It's definitely dead, yeah?
Yeah.
I have anatomy, I can tell, right?
I mean, this thing has like a trunk, so who knows what anatomical things are going to be wrong on it.
Yeah.
Right.
But according to your investigations, it's pretty dead.
So I guess
Head
Luther's
on, sit down.
Luther's coming down the stairs last, and the whole time he's talking. Like, shouldn't we meet them? I don't know if, and they'll see the donkeys. They'll know we're down there. And I
That's
guess
why we're gonna get the crypt open, and we'll get the donkeys down the crypt.
get the donkeys into the. Okay.
Yes.
I agree with that.
I don't know if we. Okay. I guess
They-
Luther's.
they can go
Luther's
downstairs.
He doesn't know if we can do that fast enough, but he's just.
Not very fast, but it's worth a try.
Neil, does that seem like feasible if the crypt door opens straight away? Is it possible that we could get the donkeys in before we think that the force would get there? Assuming they're
Hopefully,
looking at
yeah, if you guys run.
Okay. Yep.
Okay,
Let's
well,
do it.
I guess Luther's going to the door immediately rather than to the donkeys.
To the, which door? The crypt door?
Door, yeah.
Alright,
to
so
make
it's
sure
down a
locked.
staircase, and then there's another doorway with a missing door.
Hold on. Is the crypt door intact?
No, it's not there.
There's no doors, okay.
Yeah, I guess
That's
I'll
just-
get down there and say there's no door here either. So-
The staircase, is it the same winding one down,
No,
or is
it's
it?
a straight
Okay.
down stone staircase.
Otherwise, we'd have
donkeys.
issues with the donkeys.
No, real easy. You all descend your way into the crypt, and we'll take a break and see what happens on the other side. Bye, everyone.